2 games to go in the 2009 Nutrilite Canadian Championship. Everything is still on the line as the Vancouver Whitecaps host Toronto FC. After dropping the tournament opener in Toronto, the Whitecaps have been full value, picking up 2 important wins over Montreal, setting themselves up for a showdown against the MLS squad. Can Vancouver pull off an upset of their own, or will TFC make up for last year's disappointment? The battle for Canada's National Soccer Championship continues, and it's next on Rogers Sportsnet. The most beautiful city in Canada has been enjoying some spectacular late spring weather, and we hope that not far from Vancouver, we enjoy a spectacular match at Burnaby, BC, and Swangard Stadium, where tonight it is a critical contest in the Nutrilite Canadian Championship, where on a beautiful evening for football, it will be the Vancouver Whitecaps against Toronto FC. Hi there, everyone, and welcome to Swangard Stadium in Burnaby, BC. In tonight's telecast, Jerry Dobson alongside Craig Forrest, as always. Glad to have you with us for this spectacular evening. It is absolutely gorgeous as we await this contest between 2 teams that are both still in the competition. You couldn't ask for any more than that.
No, you really couldn't. I mean, for Toronto FC, they got a chance to close this tournament out. They have the chance to win their first trophy in their short history. For Vancouver Whitecaps, they've done a terrific job winning their last 2 games in the Nutrilite Canadian Championship to set this game up. They've got a great opportunity. They are missing a couple key players, but it's all to play for, and it's a great night to be here.
Let's show you the standings as they sit right now heading into this one. Toronto has played 1 game fewer than both Vancouver and Montreal. The Montreal Impact have already been eliminated. Both Toronto and Vancouver are in contention. Now let's look at the tie-breaking scenario should it come to that. All Toronto need to do is win or draw this game, then they would advance on a better head-to-head record against Vancouver. If Vancouver wins this game, then Toronto must win their final game in Montreal, and then it will come down to goal differential between Vancouver and Toronto. If they're equal there, it would be then total goals scored, and if they're equal on that one, it would be the dreaded drawing of lots. Nobody wants to get to that point, and we've got a lot more to talk about before we ever get there. Charles Biquet will cause fits for that Toronto defense once again, and he'll also be facing a surprise starter in goal for Toronto FC. It will be Greg Sutton, and we'll have both lineups and the story behind Sutton's start when we come back.
The Nutrilite Canadian Championship on Rogers Sportsnet. Brought to you by Nutrilite, proud sponsor of Canadian soccer coast to coast. By BMO Financial Group, proud to support soccer across Canada. And by PokerStars.net, the world's largest poker site. Visit them today and learn to play for free.
And welcome back once again, everybody, to Swangard Stadium in Burnaby, BC. As you look at downtown Vancouver, gorgeous weather. Temperature approached 30 degrees today. It's cooled off somewhat, but it is a beautiful evening for football. Head coach Tater Torderson and his Vancouver Whitecaps, they know what the task is ahead of them. They have to pull off a victory here tonight and then hope for the tie-breaking scenarios to kick in. And here's what he will put out facing Toronto FC.
Yeah, key player Marcus Haber. He's a big, strong Canadian. He's only 20 years old. You might remember him from the Canadian under-20 team. He actually plays center back, but that's the only time he's really confident with that. One player you didn't see there was Martin Nash, suspended.
There's Chris Cummins, head coach for Toronto FC, and he has made 4 changes to his lineup as head coach Tater Torderson, and there's the big man up front.
And it's a 4-3-3 combination. Toronto do like to do that. Big Danny Dichio was actually rested for the last game against Houston to be fit for this one.
And we are underway at Swangard Stadium. Vancouver wearing white, Toronto wearing red. Once again, and there's the officials, Caroline Chenard, the very qualified and very talented as a referee. Caroline Chenard, she does a terrific job at the MLS level as well. Toronto with a 4-3-3, as you mentioned, Craig. And interestingly enough, all Canadians at the back.
Yeah, it's all Canadians at the back, and they'll be up against 2 strikers up front for Vancouver, and Haber and Biquet, who was born in the Côte d'Ivoire but is a Canadian citizen now. So it's up to Toronto. If that back line keeps a clean sheet, then Toronto FC will be the champions of the Nutrilite Canadian Championship.
Adrian Serio, one of those Canadians, tossing it into another Canadian. Dwayne De Rosario looking for a streaking Pablo Viti, one of 3 strikers up front. Chad Barrett on the left, Viti on the right, Danny Dichio in the middle. And for Vancouver, once again, they're 2 big guys up front. Charles Biquet, the man with the ball right now, and Marcus Haber, who's in the middle of the box right now looking for a pass that doesn't come, although he nearly wins a ball there. Headed by Jim Brennan. Ball put in play for Chad Barrett, too far, headed by Jeff Park, who's back in the lineup for Vancouver tonight. Hirano, the left back. Martin, Park, and Gordon Chin all back in the lineup. They did not start the game against Portland, a 2-0 loss for Vancouver in USL action on the weekend. Number 8 is Wes Knight with the ball for Vancouver. Now it's Lyle Martin, whose job it will be tonight to close down Dwayne De Rosario.
And that's going to be a difficult task because Dwayne De Rosario, for my money, is a game changer, and it's going to be a test.
Here's BK working into a good spot to answer Toure to the other side. And we talked off the top of the show how Greg Sutton gets the start tonight because Stefan Fry picked up a foot infection as they take a corner kick, and it's a quick one. We'll elaborate on that in a moment. It's into the box. BK, header by Haber, and it's swallowed up by Sutton. But once again, Stefan Fry said his foot didn't feel quite right during the game in Houston, and then it just ballooned up on the flight back to here from Houston, and so Greg Sutton gets the call.
Yeah, and it didn't show much improvement at all, and Greg Sutton, obviously a very good goalkeeper in his own right, making a poor clearance there, and he must be a little bit rusty, but he is competent, no doubt about that. The goalkeeper, former USL goalkeeper of the year, 4 straight years, but he hasn't played for a while, so it's going to be difficult for him to get back into the routine there, and that wasn't the greatest clearance we saw from him just a second ago.
Greg Sutton has only seen action in two league games this year. He came on in the second half of a 1-1 draw against Columbus March 28th, and then he started the following game April 4th, a 2-0 loss to Seattle. That was April 4th. He has not played since, and so he's thrown into the fire here tonight. But as you said, Craig, he's a very capable goalkeeper at this level. And there is the ball into the Toronto zone again. And it was Marcus Haber who couldn't really move it forward. He has to take it back. But Vancouver with some early pressure here. Toronto has not moved the ball forward at all yet. Of course, Vancouver knows they have to get at least one goal. A draw does not help them in this contest. Toronto wins the championship with a draw or a victory. Pablo Vidi chests it down. It's taken by Ethan Gage. There's Lyle Martin. Martin is fouled by De Rosario. Lyle Martin coming back from a broken foot. His first taste of action since that broken foot was that loss in Portland. Free kick here taken by Jeff Park. Serio against BK. BK wins the corner kick for Vancouver.
Charles BK has really good feet for a big man. Number 98 there. They'll be looking to hit him on set pieces. I think set pieces are an important part for Vancouver Whitecaps, especially with the absence of suspended Martin Nash.
Corner kick swung in, headed clear by Carl Robinson. Chasing it down is Martin. Tried to find Wesley Charles, who had moved all the way up there, but it's back to Takashi Hirano. Again, that's Charles, the central defender, who's back in the lineup after a suspension for the game against Montreal. A very strong center back for Vancouver.
Yeah, and he's another important player on set pieces with Haber, BK, and Charles. They got a lot of height in the box, and it'll certainly cause some troubles if the Toronto team do not pick those players up. Bright start for Vancouver, though.
It has been all Vancouver through the first 5 minutes. Long ball to De Rosario, tries to head forward to Viti. De Rosario wins that ball. Through for Dicchio, offside. Flag went up and went right to the waiting hands of Jay Nolly at any rate. Launched down the pitch. BK, the back of Serio, calmly heads it to Sutton. Robinson for Sam Cronin. Toronto try to settle in a little bit here now. Brennan, the captain. Dicchio for Cronin. Now it's Barrett. Nana Atakora. Threads one through to De Rosario. Intercepted by Hirano. Serio with the header. Lyle Martin. Ball into the corner for Wes Knight against Serio, and it's Toronto's ball.
Well, Dwayne De Rosario tonight has a different role than he had on Saturday against Houston. He was on the middle against a Houston team on a three-pronged attack. Not the greatest player with his back to goal, and I think he's done a good job, Chris Cummins, bringing him back into the midfield, letting him get the ball to feet, running at defenders. He's much better at that, and I think he's be in his best position tonight. And midfielders wandering around. It's important that Vancouver pick him up.
Marcus Haber turns to get that ball. Feeds it into the middle to Gordon Chin. For Haber, good moves by Marcus Haber. Now it's Ethan Gage. Back for Martin. Martin's ball headed by Serio to Brennan. Now Cronin misplays it though, and fortunately for him, Gage slipped on the turf. De Rosario for Chad Barrett. Toronto with something going now. Barrett looking for an option. Can't get it through to De Rosario. And Sature. Brennan cuts that one out to Serio. Serio nearly misplayed it right to Haber, but he got it to Atacora. Robinson for De Rosario. Floats one into the box. Barrett is offside.
Offside for Toronto. You can see there just slipping into the offside position. Vancouver do a really good job holding their line up the field. But at the same time have to be very careful because the runs from Toronto FC can be very clever at times. Chad Barrett can make good runs. With Dwayne De Rosario and Carl Robinson be looking to penetrate over the top and use the pace of a couple individuals. Danny Dichio will be in there to flick things on.
Dichio was rested for the game against Houston, with head coach Cummings knowing full well that he would use him in this game tonight where the weather would be a little more accommodating for the veteran striker. Goal kick here, free kick for Jay Nolly. Headed forward by Haber to BK, but Serio was there. There is Atacora with the clearance for Dichio. Dichio's pass for Cronin misfired. West Knight. Robinson back to Atacora. Vancouver with a couple of early corner kicks inside the first 10 minutes of this match. Toronto with none, indicating the way the play has gone. That was a ball for De Rosario, couldn't come down with Dichio. Lays it off for Chad Barrett on the right. Pardon me, that's Pablo Viti. Barrett's on the left. Robinson. Dichio, Robinson. Now it's Kevin Harms who's playing the right back position tonight. Return ball for Harms, and Toronto with 4 people forward here. De Rosario, Harms, and then cleared by Martin. Viti back to Robinson. Now Brennan. Barrett. Brennan. De Rosario. And he slips down. Lyle Martin eludes De Rosario and then goes down. And De Rosario, the culprit on that against Lyle Martin, who stays down. Martin's an interesting story too, because the last time Steve Nash, or Martin Nash, pardon me, played in a game for Toronto, or for Vancouver, as we look at that foul once again, Lyle Martin is the only player left on this team since the last time Martin Nash missed a game for the Vancouver Whitecaps. That was in 2007. That's how much turnover has taken place. And of course, Nash suspended for this one. That's the 3rd foul for Toronto, 2 for Vancouver. Brennan does the work there. Knocked into touch by Gordon Chin, who was a wayward fellow as well, without a team for a while after played in China, was released, has ended up back here with the Whitecaps. Dickio trying to get it through to DiRosario, but it's Wesley Charles doing the defensive work there. Throw in upcoming for Chad Barrett.
Great defending by Wesley Charles. Big and strong. He didn't let DiRosario get a touch on it. And if he did, he was going to go right through him. Big and strong individual. Charles, definitely the best defender for the Vancouver Whitecaps, and arguably the best player over the last 12 months.
Barrett leaves the throw in for Adrian Seriou, who will launch one all the way into the box. There's Nolly. He spills it. That one's available, and it's called. Referee blows that one down. So it doesn't matter that Nolly spilled it.
Well, Jay Nolly trying to come and help out his defense. They know the long throw is coming in from Seriou, and Danny Dickio is looking to get on the end of it. He comes forward. He's actually bumped into his own defender there and gone over, and he's a bit fortunate. You see Nana Adekora there unhappy, but it looks as though he went over his own player, Wes Knight.
Barrett with a little flick into the middle. However, Charles misplays it. Vitti for DiRosario. Hard giving chase. DiRosario still with it. For Barrett. Barrett working in. There's a cross. Cleared by Park. Haber goes down. Play on, says the referee. This is Wes Knight for Piquet. That didn't work. A groan from the crowd here. The partisan crowd at Swangard Stadium. Burnaby, BC. DiRosario lays it right to Gordon Chin. Now it's Park. Here's Charles. Adekora beats Piquet to that one. Harms knocks it down the pitch for Vitti. There's the return ball for Vitti, too far. Charles has it. And Toure. Toure gets around DiRosario for Haber. On comes Sutton. Marcus Haber has looked very lively for the Vancouver Whitecaps here in the early going through the first 14 minutes. Toronto players slow to get up.
Carl Robinson picked up a knock in a tangle. And landed on his hands with Haber. And I thought Carl Robinson was actually fortunate not to get booked because he lashes out there as he pulls down. And somewhere in there he ended up picking up a hand injury. Ever since that, he's been struggling after that tackle by Haber. And that.
Well, he's in some obvious pain there right now as Carmelo Abue works on him.
And Marcus Haber there is a big, strong forward. Carl Robinson is a very important player.
He's going to have to come off at least for now. Whether maybe has dislocated a finger.
It looks as though it could be possibly a dislocation there. It is possible also that he could come back in the game. Chris Cummins and the medical staff will have to make a quick decision on him. Have a look at his left hand with the wristband on. It's caught up. Doesn't look like an awful lot. It might have caught his little finger on the grasp somehow, but it was definitely after that he started to struggle. So we'll have to see what happens to Carl Robinson over the next few minutes.
Well, it looks like they're going to just simply tape it up for now and very likely send him right back out there. So Toronto will be a man short here for the next little bit. Dickio, and that goes right to Nolly. Seriou looking for DiRosario. Dickio comes by to help out. DiRosario ends up with it. Back to Harms. Local boy here playing for Toronto FC. This is Lyle Martin moving forward down the right side. Knight. That's Chin for Piquet. Again, Syrio was on him like a shadow. BK can't get by Syrio, but he does win a corner kick. Yet another one for the Whitecaps.
Quite an individual battle already growing there between Syrio and BK. They're really working hard against each other, bumping each other on high balls. Syrio knows he has to be able to compete with them and the rest of the defenders to clean up the second phase stuff around. Greg Sutton needs to organize his back line and his defense on these set pieces. As we said, very important to Vancouver Whitecaps.
Third corner kick here. Carl Robinson is back on the pitch. Syrio strong there defensively. There's a shot that's deflected over the bar. And it's another corner kick for Vancouver. This will be their fourth. A good start for the home team. The Whitecaps fans are into it as they sense maybe an upset here.
Well, Vancouver did very well there. Good clearance by Syrio, but at the top of the box, the strike comes in. Looks as though it might have come off, well, it certainly came off a Toronto player. Another corner to the Whitecaps.
Cleared by Adekora, but Martin pounces on it to keep the pressure on. To Charles, who had moved up for the set piece. Charles cross. Still not cleared effectively by Toronto. Martin. It's all that Sutton comes for, and he's there.
Good goalkeeping. The ball needs to be a lower flight, paced in, maybe whipped in with a bit of bend as well. You're going to hang them up in the top of the box. Goalkeeper like Greg Sutton's going to come and clean them up pretty easily.
Dicchio tried to head that forward, but in the end, the Vancouver back line, primarily Jeff Park, did the job getting it back to Nolly. Brennan first to that ball. Vancouver now on the counter. Haber for Toure. Harms is back there. Toure gets the ball first. Can't get by Harms, but it's another corner kick.
But Toure's the sort of player, he's a bit frustrating at times. He's got a ton of pace, and he will cause Toronto trouble if they can use him properly. Big job for Kevin Harms to try and keep him at bay. Does well defending there, gives away a corner, but that's okay.
Again, it's Syrio clearing the corner kick. Back in, Charles is still there fighting for it. Wes Knight back into the box. Now it's offside. Charles couldn't get back out of there in time. Wesley Charles, the captain for the Whitecaps in the absence of the suspended Martin Nash.
Well, Vancouver's bright. They did very well to get back in this Canadian Championship, losing the opening game to Toronto in Toronto 1-0 on a goal from Kevin Harms. They needed to win their next few games. Tater Torreson did a great job keeping them and getting a belief out of them to put themselves in a position where if they win tonight, they get a great opportunity to win this Canadian Championship.
That's Haber against Adekora, who goes down and stays down. And it's another corner kick for Vancouver, but Adekora is still on the pitch.
Well, we talked about these two players off the top, BK and Haber, and how hard they work and how difficult they are to play against. Sometimes not the prettiest, but they certainly work very hard. Nan Adekora gets a touch on that, goes down heavily. Back of the head, he gets a knock.
Looked like he either hit his head on the back of Haber's foot or perhaps the ground. Either way, he's still down. Now he's working his way up. Shaken up a little, but will stay in. Vancouver putting plenty of pressure on Toronto here in the first 20 minutes of this match. And here comes yet another corner kick.
And here's a foul, well not a foul, good clearance by Nana, and there he bangs his head on the ground, but he'll be okay.
The corner kick. Vancouver have been very impressive so far, Craig.
Yeah, they come out, the brighter team. Toronto FC, if you have a look at the corner coming in again, the foul that was given. Toronto FC were very poor against Houston. They started slow. They need to be pick themselves up here, because if they play like this for 90 minutes, they're not going to be the winners of this tournament.
Rosario's ball into the box was deflected into touch. It'll be a Toronto throw. So Adrian Syrio will come up and take it as things slow down here a little bit as we wait for Syrio. looking for Dickio, cleared by Martin. Brennan back to Serio. For Cronin. Cronin has it. Cronin can't get free. Serio to Barrett. Back to Serio. Serio's ball cleared up by Park. Follow up. That was Sam Cronin, whose shot went looping high over the bar. Sam Cronin, one of those high first-round draft choices by Toronto FC, who has immediately entrenched himself in the Toronto lineup right from the get-go.
Yeah, Cronin's been a good player, a good pickup from Wake Forest. Going to be one for the future.
There's Wes Knight, who's way up there, causing Brennan trouble. Atacora helps out. Throw in Vancouver. Knight will launch it in there, and he'll take a big run up.